The federal playbook for seizing a mogul's mansion is equal parts shock and awe and forensic scavenger hunt. So when Homeland Security investigation vans rolled up to Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles estate at 5:07 a.m., they didn't just knock, they fanned out like a SWAT ballet. Within 90 minutes, they'd cataloged 3 unregistered rifles, a thumb drive labeled Charity Photos 2012 that actually contained password-protected MP4s, and most meme-able of all 1072 industrial-sized bottles of baby oil. The oil tally was so absurd, it hijacked the headline cycle. Late-night hosts cracked jokes about BP's newest pipeline. TikTok stitched endless skits of Diddy diving into an Olympic pool of Johnsons, yet buried one paragraph. Below that lube punchline were 2 words prosecutors cared about far more: mirrored servers. Agents claimed they'd cloned every byte of Diddy's iCloud, plus a redundant server farm he allegedly called the Vault. That vault, they insisted, stored video evidence of trafficked victims and compromising tape of anyone important enough to invite or important enough to blackmail. Suddenly, the baby oil wasn't funny. It was a coded signal that every rumor of freak-offs, of hush money, NDAs, of hidden cameras in chandeliers, might be provable in 4K Hollywood's A-listers, who once collected after-party invites like status chips, went dark on socials, lawyers fielded existential 3 a.m. calls. Talent agencies hired reputation archaeologists to trace every archived paparazzi shot of their clients within 50 yards of Combs' property. And then Will Smith grabbed a handheld mic in San Diego, stared into shaky iPhone lenses, and yelled, "YALLL, can stop all that. I ain't got nothing to do with Puffy. I don't even like baby oil." What looked like comic relief landed as omen. Why does the Fresh Prince sound so rattled? What exactly is on those drives? And why are Diddy's own lawyers sprinting for the exits while Usher, the first boy wonder of Flavor Camp, finally agrees to talk? Buckle up. This isn't gossip, it's the early tremor before a courtroom earthquake. In 7 rapid-fire chapters, we'll race from that oil-slick raid to Usher's bombshell, Bieber's sudden purge, shredded NDAs, and a motion to suppress that may decide whether the world ever sees what Homeland Security calls Exhibit A. And if it rolls, whose face flashes on screen, sprinted by in neon blur. He was 13, fresh off a church choir upbringing in Chattanooga, headed to what LA. Reed pitched as Flavor Camp, a year living under Sean Combs' roof to soak up swagger. Back then, Puff Daddy was the Pied Piper of platinum singles. He'd coaxed Craig Mack and the notorious B.I.G. into Radio Dominion and convinced corporate America that Crystal could double as marketing spend if you were a teenager who could sing riffs like Chocolate Fondue. Moving into his mansion sounded like Willy Wonka, but with better beats. The reality, Usher now says, was his word, curious. In a 2024 podcast clip that leaked 2 months after Diddy's arrest, Usher describes rooms you don't belong in, the hypnotic pull of nightclub velvet ropes, and a memory of Puff's bedroom door ajar, revealing a hotel-sized suite throbbing with grown-up laughter. I didn't have context, he admits. I just knew I shouldn't be there. For decades, that confession stayed anecdotal, overshadowed by Usher's ascent my way. 8,701. Confessions and Puff's rebrand from bad boy ringleader to vitamin water mogul, but prosecutor Kelly Sandoval cared less about hits and more about timelines. When Homeland agents inventoried Diddy's seized footage, they needed a witness who could speak to long-standing patterns, minors groomed in exchange for career boosters, parties where the underaged brushed shoulders with cocaine trays and handheld cameras. Sandoval's staff subpoenaed Usher in January 2025. Initially, he balked, citing mental health strain, brand protection, and the possibility of self-incrimination by proximity. But then a photo surfaced, snapped at a 1996 house bash, Usher front and center, eyes glossy. Behind him, a table of mixed drinks and a woman later identified as 19, though she'd been billed to promoters as 27. The image didn't prove wrongdoing, but it torched plausible deniability. Industry whispers say Sandoval dangled immunity for candor, testify about what you saw. And prosecutors guarantee no charges for underage drinking or statutory gray zones tied to your presence. Insiders claim Usher accepted his testimony, they say, will undercut Diddy's consensual adult-only line by painting Flavor Camp as a feeder system that blurred childhood and Playboy fantasy. In press interviews promoting his Super Bowl set, Usher pivoted artfully whenever journalists prodded about Diddy, yet off-camera he'd begun describing long-term impact on boundaries and trust. I was a kid in an MGM casino. He told a confidant, free chips, no manual. Diddy's lawyers responded with emotion branding, Usher's memories, selective nostalgia, weaponized by prosecutors, and insisting any raunchy footage predates modern trafficking statutes. The court wasn't moved, memory may fade, but video timestamps don't. And just as Usher steadied himself to speak, another former prodigy one, Diddy never quite landed, deleted 30 Instagram posts and quietly cut digital ties with both mentors.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 in the morning with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Being at bad boy related events. Within 72 hours, fan channels large and small reported takedown strikes for copyright violations, most citing footage shot at Diddy's Miami white party, 2009. The purge deepened. Bieber unfollowed Usher on Instagram, ending a 15-year digital breadcrumb trail, then quietly untagged every photo featuring Combs. Paparazzi asked outside church. He smiled and said, God bless. But to friends, he described panic attacks triggered by the word Ciroc. Why the sudden recoil? One story, unverified but persistent. Claims Diddy once sought temporary guardianship papers to bring 16-year-old Justin on an overseas promo run. Scooter Braun allegedly balked. Usher, older brother figure, stepped in, I'll chaperone. Publicly, that looked like mentorship. Privately, a WME junior agent later told Homeland it looked like a negotiation of access. Then there's the TMZ clip everyone has seen, Puff tapping teenage Bieber's chest outside in Point Lajimasking. You wired you with the feds, delivered with a grin, but unsettling in hindsight. Add the lyrics from Bieber's leaked demo, Free to Fly, got smashed at a party I was too young to name, and the dots connect themselves. During discovery, Homeland prosecutors subpoenaed Bieber's 2010-13 tour diaries. Lawyers fought back, citing therapist-patient privilege. A judge sealed most pages but allowed prosecutors to quote 3 passages describing waking up in strange guest rooms at industry retreats. No names, but context screamed. The seismic effect of Bieber's silence. It left Diddy's defense team without a second megawatt character witness. They'd hoped to parade former proteges saying Puff never crossed lines. Usher flipped, Bieber ghosted. That strategic vacuum forced the lawyers to lean on a different tactic, discredit the evidence itself, which leads straight to Cassie Ventura, whose forthcoming testimony may decide whether those freak-off tapes are considered sex crimes or adult kink.
Was flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio. And who rolls up? Usher and his
clips could obliterate Diddy's assertion that every guest was grown and sovereign.
Me plus you, I'ma tell you one time. I'ma tell you one time. I'ma tell you one time. One time when I met you, come on. Wow.
I ain't gonna stop you like that, but this is only a tease. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you Island Def Jam recording artist Justin Bieber. It's getting ready to go down. Just so you know, we're in the studio right now working on it. Get ready because it's gonna be big. Ain't that right, Justin?
That's right.
That's right. So look out. We're coming.
Years ago, Cameron, he did an interview and he told a story about how he went to Diddy house with mates.
Yeah.
And he found the dildo in the sink.
I think I think that was crazy. I think that was out of, and then May said that was Puffs. I think he said May said that was Puffs, but Mace was in the bathroom with it. I don't know what that was all about, man, but that was real weird to me. That was crazy.
Crazy, man. But before we get off of that, right, I remember you told me a while ago that, you know, Mace, he used to live with Diddy, and he know a lot of stuff about Diddy that a lot of people don't know.
Man, it's a lot of stuff that Mace and Usher know that they ain't telling about Diddy. There's a lot of stuff that they know. Can you imagine, bruh? Can you really imagine?
What you mean by Usher then?
Usher used to stay with Diddy too, when he was younger. And this was years ago. So the locks ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. This the kind of, man, listen here. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But I want to talk about this lawsuit by Gunn, right? And I want to get your opinion on it. It's a part in this lawsuit where she alleges that she was at a dinner with Neo, Usher, and Jimmy Iovine. And Diddy, he punched Cassie in the stomach and no one did anything. How you feel about that?
They were part of the dinner and they watched Cassie get abused in front of, Puffy abused Cassie in front of them. And neither one of those men, and they probably security was around too, did nothing to stop what he had did to Cassie. Now that's just crazy right there, bro. That is just crazy. Usher probably got a daughter. Neo probably got kids, I don't know. Jimmy Iovine, you know, he take about 15, 20 scoops of sugar in his coffee. So, all those cats there, supposed to be men, watched that lady get abused right there in public, and they did nothing, brother. They did nothing. That goes to show you the power that he had mentally over them. Here go a woman witnesses, and this witnessing it, and said, they said nothing. Yo, man, stop, don't do that. Yo, not here, bro. Easy, nothing. Don't do nothing, say something. She said they didn't do anything and they didn't say nothing. That's the bad thing about it. If you're not gonna do nothing, open your damn mouth and say something. And that's a lot wrong with our people right now. They don't even want you to say nothing.
On a gray April morning, defense attorney Anthony Ricco filed a 205-word motion. Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel. He offered no detailed attorney-client privilege. After all, but insiders say paychecks weren't the issue. What rattled Ricco was discovery. A sealed flash drive government couriered to the defense, labeled simply Room 37H, Sep 2009 MP4. Ricco watched 15 seconds, closed his laptop, stared at the ceiling, and called co-counsel Mark Agnifilo. By sunrise, he drafted the exit motion. Days later, the entertainment powerhouse law firm Grubman, Shire, Meiselas & Sachs quietly terminated a 20-year advisory relationship with Combs. Rumor had it Lady Gaga threatened to walk if the firm kept Puff. The firm denied client ultimatums, but confirmed parting ways. Each legal defection feeds a narrative of radioactive evidence. Diddy still retains Titan Mark Agnifilo, ex-SDNY chief. But even Agnifilo can't unsee what ex-staffers' claim is on those drives. Strategy pivoted, attack the warrants instead. If the raids are ruled unconstitutional, the videos vanish from trial, which explains the April 30 suppression brief accusing Homeland of omitting exculpatory context and injecting racially charged, salacious rumor. Yet motions live or die on precedent. The government counters, probable cause traces back to multiple corroborated victims. Not a single salacious informant. They append 112 pages of warrant affidavits, each line citing timestamps.jet records, financial transfers for event security, and credit card bills for same-day CVS baby oil purchases. Judge Morales schedules a May 15 hearing while lawyers scuffle. Diddy's publicists blast a new defense, persecution of a successful Black entrepreneur. Civil rights hashtags trend for an afternoon. until social media sleuths point out most accusers are black, brown, and female, puncturing the narrative. When PR spin stalls, you need a last-ditch argument, preferably one that reframes criminal counts as institutional bias.
Welcome to the family, John.
No. 16.
No, 16. Slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You're good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion?
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
Count 3 of the superseding indictment, transportation with intent to engage in prostitution, gets its own dismissal motion. Defense claims the charge weaponizes a racist stereotype that hypersexualizes black men, citing Jim Crow-era laws once used to jail Jack Johnson.
We become friends in a strange way,
It's like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
I'm big and you're Rob.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin,
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
Got me a Lamborghini. And
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Apparently not.
Something, everything ain't fair.
Natalia Rubin's left eye socket bears a jagged star-shaped tattoo she inked to mark her survival. She was 29 the night champagne flutes shattered and gunfire echoed through Club New York. A fragment lodged behind her orbital bone. Surgeons removed what they could, but shrapnel remains. In a viral 2025 Instagram rant, she blames Puff Not Shine for firing the shot, alleging he paid off bouncers to make footage vanish. Double jeopardy law means even ballistic proof won't criminally indict Puff again. But prosecutors can use past acts as predicate evidence of intimidation patterns. Rubin publicly offers to let doctors remove the fragment now, for metallurgical comparison to Shine's recovered bullet. Her lawyer says the day may assist. Shine, now leader of Belize's opposition party, echoes Rubin, everybody knew I took the fall. Homeland's RICO team interviews him via Zoom. His testimony alone won't convict Puff, but together with Lil Rod's confession, it sketches a habit of using underlings as shields. Bodyguard Gene Deal piles on in Vlad TV interviews, detailing how Puff allegedly gathered witnesses to finger Shine. Defense calls Deal paranoid storyteller, yet jurors love redemption arcs, and Shine's decade behind bars sings credibility. Even if Judge Morales excludes 1999 as too remote, the mere media chatter mauls Diddy's character and forces one final, desperate legal pivot, suppress the—
So my mom told me, she just said, keep moving, baby.
That's right.
Keep moving.
Don't stop.
She could touch.
Suppression hearings unfold like procedural chess. Defense, Homeland omitted contradictory statements when applying for warrants. Namely, a 2022 email where Cassie calls a party wild but consensual. Government counters with the rest of that chain. Next email, Cassie writes, delete my last message, he's threatening again. Technical experts testify on iCloud extraction protocols, defense quibbles, metadata, chain of custody. But the elephant in the courtroom is what nobody sees. Drives labeled 2021 Hamptons, 2019 Paris Week. 2006 flavor camp sit in evidence lockers. Encrypted. Government cryptographers confirm checksum integrity. If Judge Morales rules the search is valid, prosecutors will play 4 anchor clips, a 2003 bedroom feed showing an under 18 male guest handed pills, a 2015 yacht scene with Cassie, 2 unnamed women, and an unconscious man. A 2022 Beverly Hills pool party featuring at least one reputed politician. A 2009 recording labeled Usher Bedroom 2am, edited for jury decency. Each clip will still show forced substance, or absence of consent. Diddy's freedom could evaporate before cross-examination. Suppose Morales suppresses. Civil suits still loom, but jail fades. That's why Diddy's team marshals constitutional scholars, digital privacy advocates, even referencing Carpenter v. US in footnotes. They argue mirrored servers equals parallel construction equals overreach. Yet precedent cuts both ways. 2022's Kingpin v. Oregon upheld cloud warrant sweeps for trafficking. Sandoval quotes it verbatim, digital hiding places do not convert child exploitation or sex trade evidence into privileged memorials. Verdict on suppression is due June 3. Trial penciled for July 8. Hollywood holds breath.
Far from the tree, man. You got to realize that. You know, he didn't get all this from his daddy because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You got to realize, man, you know, his mother had a whole thing, man, but that was a little kind of weird for me. And then his mother wore the same white fingernail polish that Cassie described that he liked to see her and other models in when she was describing her lawsuit. And what's crazy to me is that, man, it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people going to say, yo, Oedipus complex. Well, let me just tell you a brief story so you'll know. Oedipus was, it may have been Greek mythology or it was probably Greek mythology or something like that, but it's a story about a young man that was told that he was going to kill his father and marry his Instagram or wherever they were showing and stuff like that. But this the same guy that Kirk Burrows once told me he slapped his mother. And I told everybody, had I known he slapped his mother after I told Kirk Burrows, Kirk told me after I straightened his ass out for cussing his mama out. His mother came in the limousine and he was on the phone and she said, you ain't gonna bring nothing but bad luck to us treating your mama like that. So I guess he ain't treating his mama like that no more. But I don't have no qualms in her defending her son.
Every industry worships its myths. Hollywood's favorite is that secrets stay secret if you're rich enough, famous enough, philanthropic enough. Sean Combs built an empire on that myth velvet rope outside, velvet gag inside, but encrypted drives don't respect private island guest lists. They don't care that your lawyer once sat on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame board. They don't bow to brand equity measured in vodka shares and Revolt TV ad slots. They simply boot up when the evidence tech enters the password. Will suppression land? Maybe, if it does. Diddy survives the criminal gauntlet, bleeds money in civil courts, and watches brand partners flee. If it doesn't, those anchor clips become a generational reckoning. Usher's youthful confusion transforms into corroboration. Bieber's purge reads like foreknowledge. Cassie's decade of silenced alarm becomes Exhibit 1. And Will Smith. His San Diego scream, "I don't even like baby oil," will echo in reaction videos the morning kinks of evidence finally play. Whether he's vindicated or implicated depends on what Room 37H Sep 2009 really shows. So they'll mark 2 dates, June 3 suppression ruling and July 8 trial. Keep phone storage. Free news alerts will overflow. Smash subscribe, hit that bell, and drop your predictions below. Will the vault open? Will Usher bury or save his old mentor? Why does Justin still refuse to speak? Because on playback day, the world might learn that Hollywood's real addiction isn't champagne or cameras, it's the illusion that the cameras are ever off.
Did you see the IG live that Puffy and his mom did? And Puffy, he was shouting out Mason, showing him love for, you know, him being a part of the No Way Out album. And, you know, his mom, she cut it in and, you know, I guess she she didn't like him shouting out Mace, and she made a comment telling Mace.
I gotta watch Justin, but since the grandma up there, you know, she watching Justin something, I still gotta keep my eye on Puff. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know who security gonna let up sometimes, and this, that, and the third. So, not at all.